Alright, so today we're going to be doing something a little different. I just finished watching season 2 of I Think You Should Leave. I actually watched it like 2 or 3 times now. And I thought it'd be fun to do a tier list of all of the I Think You Should Leave sketches plus Tim's sketches from the characters on Netflix. I think Tim is literally the funniest person on the face of the planet. So even if I put any of these in like D tier or whatever, it's still probably like A tier compared to the rest of comedy in general, in my opinion. So, yeah, and if you don't know what any of this is, why are you watching? So, if you haven't seen I Think You Should Leave or the characters, definitely go watch those. Funny, absurdist sketches, so... But yeah, we'll get right into the tier list here, and I'll provide a link for this down in the description so you can do it yourself. I compiled this together because there wasn't any of them that had all the sketches on it yet, so I tried to fix that. Okay, and they're not in any particular order, it's just kind of how they showed up. Alright, so Toupee is the one where it's the infomercial for people that have been wearing toupees their whole life. Well, not their whole life, but they've been wearing toupees and they just want to like be themselves and be bald. So the service sells you toupees that have less and less hair on them, and you like change them out like 3 times a day or something stupid. Or they provide a service where a gorilla comes in and rips your hair clean off. This one's okay. This is an okay sketch. It's kind of got some of the like Detroiters vibes, which is Tim's other show. But the only thing I really come back to with this one that I think is funny is is that a toupee, you piece of crap? And I'm gonna censor any. I'm gonna personally censor any anything like that so I can keep this as family friendly as possible. But that's about the only thing I really come back to on this one that I think's funny. And the end where it's playing like the heavy, like thrash metal music to the logo, that's pretty good. But I mean, overall, this is, I think, one of the weaker sketches on the show. It's not bottom of the barrel, but I think I'm going to put it up in C tier. This one is the one that made me focus group is the one that made me fall in love with the show. And I know that's probably like, you know, that's the normie pick for this. But man, no matter how many times I watch it, it's so funny. Ruben, the guy that plays the old man in here, his delivery is just so perfect. And like his mannerisms. And something you see a lot in these sketches with Tim, in these I Think You Should Leave sketches, is there's always like a weird person in it, right? And the weird person is the one that's always subjected to like that kind of I think you should leave feeling, right? But this one, it flips it, because starting off, he's totally the weird guy, and then halfway through he's able to push it onto somebody else and then get the entire room on his side, which is just hilarious. But this one is insanely quotable. You flinched, no room for mother-in-law, a good steering wheel that doesn't whiff out the window while I'm driving. So yeah, this one's just full of great moments. And I think part of the fun of this show is making memes of it and like quoting it in daily life. So a little bit on what I'm judging this by is how quotable is it in real life, and how funny is it outside of watching it in the moment. Because I think that's a big part of enjoying the show, because especially on like the first run through or two of this show, I didn't think it was as funny and as like genius as it was until I started watching it like 3 or 4 times. Something about it is just like you pick up on the mannerisms and stuff more, and I think this is one of those that really benefits from watching a few times. But yeah, this one's an S tier sketch for me for sure. caption. I didn't really know what to call this one. This is one where Vanessa Bayer from SNL is trying to come up with a caption for Instagram, and she keeps coming up with these horrendously awful and derogatory captions for the group that's there. So this is so there's a few sketches like this throughout the show that I think the backbone of what makes it funny is the crudeness and the language, like the bad language in it, you know? And I'm not really a huge fan of those. As you'll see when we get later on down in there, I've like cussing and saying gross stuff just for the sake of saying it isn't really that funny to me. But Vanessa Bayer does, she's got a really good delivery of this, and the way it just keeps escalating and escalating, and like the choices of the words is so weird. Like getting our butts sucked by flies, like it's so strange. But this one's, I think this one's a pretty average one. Like I said, I think it leans a little bit too much on the, you know, hey, cussing's funny kind of thing. But I'm going to put it in B tier. It'll probably be like a bottom of the B tier. I don't think it's quite on the same level as the toupee, but... Alright, and then we have New Copier with Patty Harrison, is that her name, I think? Who, she kills everything that she's in. She has some of the best sketches in the show, period. And I think what makes her work so well is the way one's her facial expressions, and two is the way she delivers her lines. Like, I'm not stupid, I'm smarter than you. And Santa brought it early. Like, the delivery of all of her lines is just, I don't know, very quotable. It gets funnier on rewatches, which, you know, that's about all I can ask for from a comedy show, is that it gets funnier the more you watch it, which is like, you know, that's not something that is that common in comedy shows, I think. But yeah, all of Patty's are great. This one's no exception. I'm gonna put it up in A tier. Okay, now here we're getting to one that I don't really care for. Scrooge, where this guy from the future in a robot outfit, or like a robot mech suit, whatever, comes from the future back to Scrooge, like he's the ghost of way future or something like that, which that's a funny concept in general. But I just don't think there's a ton in this one. I think this is a two-parter, but it's combined into one on here. I just don't think there's enough in here that's funny to make me really come back to it, because when I rewatch the show, I usually just kind of skip over this one. But the only thing from it that I think is funny is he says something along the lines of like, yeah, drink the Boney's blood, it'll give you their sense of humor. But yeah, I don't know. This one just doesn't really do anything for me, and I think it's one of the least successful sketches on the show, in my opinion. And I know a lot of people really love this one, but... Okay, so here's a new one from season 2. So this one, I didn't put it with the other hot dog one from this season, because I think it's so much of its own thing that it doesn't need to be with the other hot dog one. But this one is the follow-up to the season 2 opener, where he gets choked on a hot dog and he's trying to sell his vacuum to suck the hot dogs from your throat when they get stuck. And this one is one of the sketches that really show why I like Tim Robinson, and that his delivery, his facial expressions, the oddball like way he phrases things and words he chooses. He says like everything. He says like everyday things, but he phrases them in such a way that's just strange. Like he's saying like, "You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why? You sure about that? That's why?" Like, I don't know. It's nothing but him like rambling on as this character that's very disgruntled about being fired for getting choked on a hot dog. And I think this one's incredibly quotable. And I'm going to be coming back to this one a lot, and I'm going to be saying, "Are you sure that's why? You sure that's why?" I'm gonna be saying that a lot. So yeah, this one, if this one isn't the top of A, it's the bottom of S, but I'm kind of leaning towards S right now, and I might change this as it goes on. Okay, now this one's amazing, and I should have worn my skeleton shirt. So the bones are their money. So we have like, I think I remember hearing somewhere that this was based on like a real event where, I don't know if it's Johnny Cash or somebody just like made up a song on the spot in the studio. But this one's like, hey, what if the song they made up in the studio was just ruined by one guy that just that should not be improvising at all. And he keeps going on about, in his song, he keeps saying the skeletons come to life and the bones are their money, and so are the worms. The skeletons pull your hair up, but not out. It's just completely. I'm wondering if Tim just kind of riffed, or if he had written all these lyrics down word for word, or if he just kind of riffed on it in the moment. Because if so, the stream of consciousness kind of thing that goes on in his brain is fascinating to me. But yeah, this one's incredibly quotable. I have a shirt at home that's got skeletons like throwing money around that my wife bought me because of this sketch. And I was rewatching this one earlier, and one of my favorite lines that I'd forgotten about was when he's like, you kept saying about how the bones are their money. He's like, yeah, that's because I forgot if I said it or not. Which, yeah, this one's definitely an S tier. And I'm kind of inclined to put it above Focus Group, because I think this one, I don't know, this one just has so much going for it. It's such a like easily understandable and concise joke, and it just keeps going and going. I don't know. Okay, and then I called this one the joke. I wasn't really sure what else to call it, like whoopee cushion or whatever. It's the one where they try to play a prank on their coworker by making him sit on a whoopee cushion. And he just goes absolutely ballistic about it. And this is another one, kind of like the hot dog vac, where the idea of the sketch itself isn't anything crazy, but it's all about the delivery and the choice of words, and how Tim like presents his lines that make it absolutely hilarious. Like some of my favorite stuff from this is like, I think we'd cover what would happen if I farted, Jane. You throw up your pretty little lunch. And permission to go home and lay down so my face isn't beet red for my family photo tonight. This one's one that I love to quote a lot. And is that the joke? Is that the joke? Like that's a very good quotable thing too. So this one's definitely S tier as well. And I think I like this one over Focus Group too. I might end up having to put an S plus tier on here, because I have a feeling I'm going to put a lot of them in the S tier, because they're that like transcendently funny to me. Okay, bumper sticker is the one where the guy has the honk if you're horny bumper sticker, and that guy keeps following him around because he obviously is. He's so horny that his stomach hurts, which is just that's a funny sentence in itself. And then to cap it all off, he follows him to his mom's funeral, and then Tim sings that Friday night song, which could have been its own sketch in itself. So this one's great. I like the back half of the sketch more than it feels like it wastes a little bit of time, but I guess, you know, it kind of has to have that build up to get him to follow the guy to the funeral. But yeah, this one's pretty solid, and I think I'm gonna put it, I'll probably put it in B tier for now. Babysitter, this one is the one where the couple is late to the party because their babysitter was late or something, and the guy keeps making it a big deal that the babysitter was late, and starts lying about it and that she was in like a hit and run, and then somebody, I can't remember exactly, somebody like finds out he's stretching the truth, and then he starts to threaten them at the party. This one's pretty good. I think this one's maybe like about the most average one If I was to think about like an average, I think you should leave sketch. I think this one has the formula, like the formula for most of them on here. There's nothing super stand out about it, but it's still, you know, it's still really funny. So I'm gonna put it at B, like mid-range. I think this one's like probably dead middle for me, and I'm gonna like use it to justify putting stuff below or above it. Mob Movie is the one where they're planning the baby shower, and the guy tries to unload all of his Mob Movie props off on his girlfriend or wife's friends because he spent so much money off of it, and he thought that his Mob Movie was going to be a hit. Turns out it freaking sucks. But this one's pretty funny. This one is one of the ones that has like the really strange endings, where the guy just puts on the wig and starts shooting to the machine gun sounds, which is something that just about all these sketches share, is he knows exactly when to end a sketch. Like he ends at the point where like you want a little bit more, so it kind of resolves, but you never get it, but you're never left hanging so much that you thought, okay, there should have been more. That's something he's really strong with, is ending it at the right time. But yeah, this one has a few good quotable lines, like turns out it freaking sucks. And the stanzas, they're nice. And they don't look like little pieces of crap. Like this one's pretty good. This one's above average, I think. So we're gonna throw it up there in A. Okay, so the gazpacho soup one. I know a lot of people like this one, and there's a lot of aspects of this that I think are entertaining, but not necessarily funny. So it's the one where the guy, he's like the fish out of water at this party, and he thinks he's something. He knows a lot about jazz. He thinks he's smart. But the funniest aspect of this is all the fake jazz names that they keep coming up with. Or some of them aren't fake. Some of them are kind of, I think they're based on real people. But like Roy Donk, like the way Tim says Roy Donk gets me every time. And like King of the Tuk Tuk Sound, and like all this crazy, these crazy names. That's like the backbone of the sketch to me, and what makes it funny. The gazpacho part that's fine, I guess. I don't really find it that funny. But yeah, it's mostly just the jazz names that make it interesting. So I like seeing all the memes with like the jazz names. Like I'll want to hear what she's playing. She's off the map. Like that's a pretty good quote. Like overall, I don't think it's necessarily as funny as it is just entertaining. So I'm probably gonna put this in C for now. I know it's gonna upset a lot of people. A lot of people like this one. Bozo Dubbed Over is another one, kind of going off the caption one, where I think what is supposed to be funny is Bozo saying a bunch of these cuss words and like crude statements, which, I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny seeing Bozo say it, but just like, it's like I was saying before, just cussing and being like nasty for the sake of being nasty isn't that funny to me. I do like the part though where he's really upset that he can't think of a YouTube video, so he goes and makes this and then tells them about it, and they're like, it was uploaded at 6 a.m. this morning and has 1 view. It's like, have you seen it? It's hilarious. Like that concept is funny. I just wish the Bozo part was, I don't know, something else. So I'm gonna throw this one down in C as well. Okay, the fully loaded nachos. So this is where the guy goes on a date, and the date keeps hogging all the fully loaded nachos and leaving him like just chips, And he goes and tells the waiter to tell his date that they have a policy about hogging all the fully loaded nachos, and then it just kind of blows up in his face. The funniest part to this, to me, is when Tim starts being defensive when she's catching on to him, and he's like, what? We're gonna be so early for the movie. And this is another one that ends in a really weird way where it just pitches up the last what. But yeah, I like to quote what all the time in this one. So this one's a really solid one, I think, and I'm gonna put it up in A tier. Fenton's Horse Ranch is about where it's an infomercial for a horse ranch where their manhood is smaller than a human's, so the humans won't be intimidated, which is a funny concept in general. Watching it a few times, it doesn't really, it has diminishing returns, I think, more so than a lot of the other sketches on here. But one part that always cracks me up is when that guy's like, I want to go home now, or I'd like to get off now, or something like that, because he's not having a good time. That's pretty funny. And like the CGI they've done in this is pretty funny too. But yeah, this one is one where coming back and watching it on multiple rewatches, it just doesn't hold up as much, unfortunately. And I'm probably going to put it in bottom C tier. Both Ways is the one first sketch you see in the show, where the guy has the job interview. Instead of pushing the door, I think that's right, instead of pushing the door, he pulls it. And the guy's like, oh, looks like you should have pushed. And he's like, oh, it goes both ways. I was here yesterday, it goes both ways. And then he just like rips the door off the hinges trying to pull it to prove that it goes both ways. And this one is like, it's probably the best opener they could have done, because it just sets the tone for the entire show right there. And there's not really anything quotable about it except for it goes both ways. And a lot of the funniness of this is just Tim's face and like the determination to pull the door. So this one's pretty average, I think. I'm gonna put it right above caption. So Paint Job is from the characters, and if you haven't watched the characters, it's a show on Netflix that each episode is a different comedian playing different characters, and Tim Robinson has his own episode. It's basically like a bonus episode of I Think You Should Leave. So if you haven't heard of that, go watch it. But Paint Job is the one where the guy is going into a gun store trying out different handguns for no reason in particular, he says, really. But then like he holds them to get a feel for him, and he's like, tell him it wasn't me that did the total paint job in the bathroom. Like, I can't remember the exact phrasing of this one because it's been a while since I watched it. But this one's really funny. This one's very funny. And the punchline at the end where, so like he makes up that story about the guy in the captain's hat coming in and doing it instead of him. And then the guy actually comes in at the end and says like good morrow or something like that. That was a good twist ending. But yeah, I can never remember like the exact phrasing of the quotes here, but this is one I see a lot, like memed a lot, is him with the guns, like tell everybody I didn't whatever. And I think this one's you know, it's very meme worthy. And I'd probably put it up above Bumper Sticker in mid tier. So Buff Boys is from season 2, the one where Sam Richardson gets all those boys in the fake muscle outfits up there, and brings the boss of the company that they're entertaining. He brings him on to judge. This one's pretty good. I didn't like it that much on the first watch, but on the second or third time I watched it, it really started to get me. And my favorite parts where he keeps saying like, we goosed them up. It's a circus term. They're in goose suits. It's an old circus term. Like, that one's really good. Really good. And then he's like, he says, Troll Boy. I'll give it to Troll Boy. He's like, no, it can't be Troll Boy. You understand, right, Troll Boy? Why it can't be you. So yeah, I like this. In my head, the headcanon I have is that the guy that presents this is the same guy that presents Baby of the Year, because they have the same mannerisms. It's just like this was his next gig or whatever. But I really like Sam's, like the persona kind of that he puts on when he's doing these hosts. He just has these mannerisms that I can't really describe or even like react well, or like reenact well. But you'll kind of know what I mean when you watch it. But this one's pretty good. It's growing on me the more I watch it. I'd probably put it a little bit above Babysitter. I think it's very slightly above average. Okay, this one is amazing. I think this might be his best sketch, the Calico Cut Jeans. Personally, I don't know if it's my personal favorite, but like looking at it like critically or whatever, I think this is the best one he's made. So like the gist is like when you go to pee and you miss a little bit and the drops get on your pants. That's embarrassing. So this guy's made a website called CalicoCutJeans.com where they say that they sell those jeans with the dots on them. So they're like in style. And then this one just like devolves into something almost, it reminds me of Twin Peaks a little bit, especially when it goes into that like red room at the end. It just gets crazier and crazier. And then it kind of like reveals that there's like this cult of people that use the website in the office. But what makes this one good is like they've got this whole story throughout that's actually kind of interesting, but there's these very specific moments that Tim has these fantastic lines and he delivers them so well. Like the best part I think is probably when he hands them the piece of paper. He's like, here's that piece of paper you wanted, and it says look up at my face, and he's like, Jeff. Like that's really good. And when he's like, she just won't quit eating batteries. The doctor's like, no, I'm like, there's surely there's not another battery in there. And the doctor's like, yep, we found another battery. That's really good. And when he takes forever just to type the word no on the instant messaging app that they used, I don't know, there's a million like good things in this one. You hit me in the cup. Like that one's good. When he's like, you pulled on my shirt. You ruined it. It looks like a bell now. Yeah, this one's amazing. And I don't know, the more I think about it, the more I honestly want to put it in the #1 spot. Because I think it's so funny. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it as #1 for right now. Just because, man, it's so good. It's everything about this show that I love. Okay, this one killed me when I first saw it. Driver. I called it Driver. I didn't know what else to call it. When that guy gets really mad and he's like, what, you don't know how to drive? He's like, no, I don't. And he honks the horn and freaks out. This is an instance where like the concept of the sketch anybody could have come up with, but only Tim could have like written the dialogue and delivered it in a way that would be one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like when he honks the horn and freaks out both times, and when he's like, just move the car, don't you know how to move the car? He's like, oh, okay, let me try this, and like grabs the steering wheel. He's like, I don't know. But yeah, this one, I laughed even harder the second time that I watched it. I watched it like second time with my wife, and I was just crying. It's so funny. But I think I want to put it down here under the joke, because I think the joke's a little bit more funny. But man, that one's a good one. Quick, concise, a great opener. It could have been the season 2 opener, I think, but they picked a really good one for the season 2 opener still. Surf's Up is it's the one in season 2 where they're all goofing off in the that conference room, and that guy's like pretending he's surfing on the table, and then everybody kind of joins in with him, and then Tim takes it too far and flips the table, which that's pretty funny. This one is one where the next couple times I watched it, I didn't really find it as funny as the first time. Because I mean, the joke it takes a little bit to build up, and the whole joke is like he flips the table. It's just a funny image of him flipping the table, and he has a couple lines towards the end that's okay, like the Cho jeans, and he's like, Julie. Like, those are pretty funny. I don't think they're worth kind of sitting through the whole sketch just to see those. necessarily. So I think this one's one of the more weak ones. I still think it's funnier than Toupee though, so I'm gonna put it there. Coffin Flop didn't get me until maybe the second or third time watching. So this one is like 2 sketches in one, I think. So like the funniness on one side is the guy's persona that's pitching it and being like, you need to tell Spectrum to keep Corner Cop TV on the air. And then the other one is just like him talking about Coffin Flop and all the bodies just falling out of wood. He's like, it's nothing but hours of naked bodies falling out of crap wood and hitting the pavement. And there's a lot of good lines he says in here that I haven't watched enough to have memorized yet, but like the one with like nothing but, you know, nude bodies falling out with their blue butts, something like that, is really funny. And I really like towards the end, he starts saying all this weird, he starts putting like all this weird inflection on his voice. And I really like I'm pretty sure this is the one with the ending line where he's like, I'll kill you. Like, he kind of devolves into this other person, like a different character than that started the sketch off of. But yeah, this one's fun. It's got a lot of good moments and good quotables packed into it that I just can't even remember them on trying to reflect back on it. So this one's really growing on me the more I watch it, and I think it's worthy of S tier too. You know what? We're gonna add an S plus because I think I'm at the point. Oh dang it! I've messed this up. I think I'm at the point where I'm confident in saying that some of these are actually worthy of a whole new tier. Okay, yeah. So like Calico Cut Jeans, Bones Are the Money, and The Joke, to me, are probably worthy of S plus. I think those are some of the funniest things I've ever seen. Incredibly quotable. I could watch them over and over and over. I don't think I get tired of them. And then these are kind of like on a level slightly below that. Okay, so what was the last one we did? Was Coffin Flop. Okay, so Crashmore. So Crashmore, it kind of has 2 parts to it. One is the movie trailer for the movie, and then the other one is like the little interview section that they had with the cast. And the movie trailer part I just don't find funny like at all, honestly. Like the punchline that it's actually physically Santa playing in it is a funny idea, but this is another one of those where like it's just funny for the sake of cussing. And I don't know, I just don't find it that entertaining at all. One thing that kind of redeems it a little bit though is when Santa is talking about people not being good people if they get tattoos, which just is like so out of left field. And that part is pretty hilarious, honestly, I think. So that saves it a little bit, I think, from being the worst sketch in the show. Because if it didn't have that, I could comfortably say it's my absolute least favorite. And I know a lot of people in the groups, or like the Facebook group I've been in that make memes about this, they love Crashmore, and I just don't see it at all. But yeah, I mean, I think it's for that one interview section alone, it makes it better than Scrooge, but it's just, I just don't like it at all. Dan Flash's, this one was probably on the first watch through season 2, this one was the one that got me, like, immediately. Because a lot of the other ones I needed a second watch to, like, really make me laugh pretty hard. This one got me, like, immediately. So this guy is on a business trip, and they're in some meeting, and he's, like, on the couch with no energy because he's been spending all his per diem on complicated pattern shirts that he found at this store nearby instead of spending it on food. And the way this one just devolves and the way he keeps yelling at Doug, this one's great. And the way he keeps like oversharing about the store when everybody just wants it to be dropped is great. And like the patterns get more complicated, the shirts get more expensive, and then like he starts to develop a lore behind the store. And then later on, like this one has two parts too, later on it shows like the commercial for that place, and it's just like this crazy, reminds me of Twin Peaks again a little bit, this crazy store where people are going nuts over these pattern shirts. Yeah, this one's great. And this one I think is an example of a sketch that only Tim could write. Like I've not really seen any, I don't know, it's just so strange and specific that I just couldn't think of anybody else making anything like this one. I think this one's a solid, man, it's taken a lot for me to not load everything down into S tier. But I do think it's funnier than, no, I'm going to put it in at the top of A where I had it. I don't think it's as funny as Cough and Flop. But man, it's still really good. Okay, the Blues Brothers one, it's another one that didn't get me on the first one, but got me on the second watch. I'm sorry for scratching my nose so much, it's itching so bad, I don't know why. This one, what's great about this one is that, so there's a lot of build up in this one. And like the image of him dancing crazy to the music while everybody's just freaking out is funny in itself. But after a bit, it starts to like make you anxious, you know? And then eventually he finishes and he takes all the stuff off. He takes the hat and the glasses off and he looks at the dog. He's like, "It's just me. I'm not the Blues Brothers." Like the delivery of that line, it just like kills you right there because it's so good. After all that build-up and anxiety, the ridiculousness of the delivery just like it hits really hard. So I think that one joke right there is great, and that's honestly about the only joke in it. I think like the image of him dancing is, you know, that's a joke too, but like the punchline thing where he says, "I'm not the Blues Brothers," that really hits you pretty hard. But I think it's a solid B tier one, mostly because it's only got that like one or two funny things about it, but they're really funny. The Claire's one's okay. So this little girl has to watch a video before getting her ears pierced at Claire's about how, you know, it's not scary and it's not a big deal. And then there's like this old man in it that talks about it too because he got his ears pierced there, and then he starts like going off on this like existential tangent about him like fake laughing every day just in case he watches his memories back when he's dead and he wants to be happy every day. This one's just more, I don't know, weird and like somber rather than funny. I do think the reveal that there was another like middle-aged man in there with the room with her watching it and was frustrated that he had to watch it again before getting his ears pierced another time because he's already been there and done it before. That was funny. But yeah, this one doesn't do all that much for me. I think it's just more of an interesting idea, I guess, than it is actually funny. So I'm gonna put it up here. I guess it's better than the Surf's Up one. Haunted House is another one that relies a lot on cussing and like grossness being inherently funny, but this one does a little more in that this one is based on like people that I kind of know, you know, like so at the end you can tell he's from a sheltered home. Like his mom got like crosses on her on the mirror in her car, and she's playing like a hymn on the radio. And like I grew up in a Christian school, and there were definitely people that were sheltered like that when they realized that they could be funny and cuss and stuff, it was the funniest thing ever, just the fact that they were cussing. So like that's that kid, like, but as an adult man. So like the idea of that is funny in itself. But where like the cussing being funny, it actually kind of works in this one because the words that he chose are so like specific and out of the norm, I think, or you know, at least a little bit out of the norm of what most cussing is in the rest of the show. It makes it kind of funny because you can tell he's like, you know, he's like poking fun at people that are like that, I guess. But then like when he cries and he's still doing it while he's crying because he got fussed at, I mean, it's pretty funny. So I mean, this one, out of all the ones I've said about, you know, the cussing being funny thing inherently, this one I think does it the best. So I'll probably put it above Caption right there. Okay, Burger. This one was my favorite from season 2 until I started watching the Calico Cut one again. But I've said this before on like a Facebook post, but I think Burger is season 2's focus group sketch. And what I mean by that is there's a guy that's playing the character, the weird guy, that I've never seen before in anything, but he plays that character so perfectly that I can't imagine anybody else ever playing that character. And when I think back on that sketch, I only think of that character. Kind of like I only think about the old man in the focus group sketch and what he does, you know. But this one's great. A lot of good quotables. I'm joking. And like the guy's facial expressions. And I don't know, this one's another one like focus group where the very specific mannerisms and behavior of an odd person is the butt of the joke. Because I think if, like the joke itself and that this guy's doing anything he can to like get a bite of this burger is funny, like that's funny in itself. But like if Tim played that guy, I don't think it would have been nearly as funny. But yeah, you know, I'm kind of describing this one too much probably, or going way too much into it. But yeah, this one's just all around solid. The guy that plays the old man's a great character. Has a ton of great lines. The line at the end's great, which I won't repeat because I'm trying to be a little more I'm trying to be a little family friendly on this as much as I can. But the line at the end's great, hilarious. This one, I think this one doesn't quite make it into S+ tier, but it's way up there. It's way up there. The Carl Havoc, this one is another one that's amazing. This one got me pretty good on the first watch through too. So this one is spoofing a prank show, and it's funny because like the beginning of it's pretty normal, you know, like it's a lot like a lot of prank shows are. So when it actually gets to where he's supposed to do the prank and he just has like this meltdown, like panic attack, it's just such a tonal shift that it's absolutely hilarious. He's like, get all this off me, it's so hot in here, the chin kills. He's like, what do you mean the chin kill? Like the chin kill? He's like, yeah, actually it does kill. He's like, I don't wanna be around anymore. He's like, what, you mean you don't want to live anymore? Like the suit's so hot you don't want to live anymore? He's like, yeah. But yeah, this one's amazing. The visual of it is like disturbing and funny. It's great. I guess I'll probably put it around here. This one's a hard placement for me because any of these right here I could kind of interchange and not be upset about, you know? Okay, Lunch Meeting is the opener to season 2 where he gets the hot dog stuck in his throat because they moved the meeting that they were having to be during lunchtime. So he shoves the hot dog up his sleeve and he's trying to eat it. He's trying to eat it without anybody knowing. And there's a lot of great moments about this one. when he's like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm the most tired I've ever been. That's really good. He's like, you can't move lunch. You just can't do it. And just the visual of him sucking the hot dog in from underneath his arms. Yeah, this one's really solid. I'd probably put it above New Copier, I guess. A little below Dan Flash's. Jamie Taco. This one's actually this one's kind of nice and sweet. This guy accidentally, or he kind of accidentally makes fun of his wife while he's at a poker game with his friends, and then he has like this whole flashback about how his wife is so supportive, especially during a time where he was in a play, and this other guy named Jamie Taco kept stealing all his lines in the play. And this one's another one I think is more entertaining than funny. I keep peeking on my mic here. I think it's more entertaining than funny. But the funny part of it is just that the fact that there's a guy named Jamie Taco that talks really fast and tries to steal his lines in a play is mostly just the funny part of it. And at the end where it shows that they were all having a sleepover is pretty funny. So I think on like, in terms of comedic value, this one isn't that up there, but I think it's just like a good sketch and a good story in general. So for that, I'm probably gonna put it, I'll put it around here, I think. Well, no, I lied. I'll put it about here. I think bumper sticker in both ways are a little better. Okay, Triples. This is one with Bob Odenkirk, where Tim tries to tell his little girl like a white lie while they're at the store because he doesn't want to take her to the ice cream store, and he winks at this stranger and has him to go along with it. And then the stranger just keeps piling on this like fake persona that he's created right there, and he starts talking about having doubles and triples of all these different classic cars. I have a hard time ranking this one, I think. Because there isn't a ton that I find funny in it. Really, when I've watched it, I don't think I really laughed that much, but it's still pretty entertaining in that he keeps saying, you know, I have doubles of the whatever and I have triples of the Nova. I'm gonna have triples of the Nova after this deal goes through. And my wife, she's a supermodel. And like, I think the funniness of it is just from Bob Odenkirk being like who he is, you know? And the fact that he's in it at all, you know, he's just a funny guy in general. I think his mannerisms are funny. But the doubles and the triples line is a pretty good meme. Like, you can do a lot with that meme, I think. But like overall, I think this one's pretty average in terms of funniness. So I don't think I'm just gonna slot it in right under Jamie Taco. Well, maybe a little above Jamie Taco. Okay, I called this one the dump prank. This one I think is the beginning of the last episode, where he hired a body double to take massive dumps in the bathroom. Or he hired a body double of one of his co-workers to go take massive dumps in the bathroom, and he's getting like scolded for it by his boss. This one, like the concept of it just inherently is funny, that, you know, he hired a body double for this. This one's another one where Tim's phrasing and the way that he says the delivery of his lines is what's funny. And I like where he's like, no sir, I didn't do that, sir. Or whatever like that. He's, I swear I didn't do it. I think that's funny. And then he like tries to like, he says, I need a moment to collect my thoughts. And then he goes on his phone and is talking to somebody else. Yeah, this one's just like, I don't know how he came up with the idea for this. It's just like so, I don't know, it's like the script goes all over the place, but there's a lot of funny moments in it, I think. And I'd probably put it around, maybe around here. Okay, Galactic Date. This is another one I think that people are gonna not agree with me on. I don't really like this one at all. I don't think there's maybe one funny moment in it. Most of it's just kind of gross. Talking about the woman drinking puke and stuff like that. I think a lot of the funniness tries to be from that. It's this ridiculous situation that happens at this like space restaurant. Like the visuals just inherently are supposed to be funny. The one line I actually do kind of like though is he talks about he wants to get the drink for free, and he talks about finding the Lego head in his corn cob or something like that. That was just kind of out there. And for whatever reason, I don't really like the ones with is it Tim Heidecker? I think's his name. I always confuse Tim and Eric's names. I think he's a funny guy. Just like inherently, I think he's a hilarious guy. But just I don't know, something about the sketches that he's in they don't do it for me. So I'm gonna toss this one. I don't know. I might toss it down here. Honestly, I know it's gonna make a lot of people, a lot of huge fans of this upset, but I can't find it funny. Card Roulette. This is the one where is his name James Early, something like that. I think's his name. He was another person that had an episode on the characters. His episode on the characters was actually pretty funny. It's probably my second favorite episode on there, next to Tim's. But I just don't think he was like used very well here. I think they could have got somebody else to do this one maybe and used him on something else. Because like this guy, the gist of it is this guy, he's out at a dinner with one of his friends that's like a big charismatic guy that everybody loves. And he's like, hey, we should pay for the food by doing credit card roulette. We pull a card out of the hat and you got to pay for it. And James Early's character gets the one pick and he's like, I'm not paying. Nope, not doing that. This is one where I think Tim could have played this and delivered the lines differently, and it might have been more successful. But I just don't think there's a ton that's funny in this one. And then at the end where the Waiter brothers come in, just felt, I don't know, it felt out of place, but not like in a good way that the rest of the out of place stuff feels. So this one I think is pretty, I don't know. I don't want to say it's unsuccessful, but it's like, there's just not a lot going for it. I still think I'd rather watch it over the Galactic Date one though. So I'm gonna put it there. Capitol Room's another one with Patty Harrison. This one's got a lot of good quotes from it, like, to this day I hate bald boys. I made my money by suing the city for getting sewed into the pants of the Charlie Brown float at the Thanksgiving Day parade or something like that. This one's real funny. She has there's one part in it I love where she's like, if you send me a bad deal, I'm gonna like, it's this like weird nonsense thing that she does. And she's like, I can't watch a movie without having wine and popcorn. Like, this one's all about her delivery of her lines. And it's great. I kind of wish it went on a little longer, honestly. I wish we had a second part where she actually, where they actually did the Shark Tank thing with the stupid invention, and she, talks about it. But this one's really good. I think it's the top of B tier, maybe, is where I'd put it. Sloppy Steaks is great. This one reminds me a little bit of The Lonely Island, and I think it might be because of the, like, vocoded auto-tune sounding music at the end. The concept of sloppy steaks is hilarious to me. That it's just steaks that you pour water on. There's a lot in this that's really good. It's like, I used to be a piece of crap. Slicked back hair, white couch, sloppy steaks. Like, you're like, what does any of this mean? And then he like holds the baby at the end, and it has this flashback to this like really nice music actually. This one's, I don't know, this one is one of those that's like, it's a very special sketch. Like, it's a standout sketch to me. There isn't necessarily a ton of like quotableness to it. Just the idea of sloppy steaks existing I guess, you know, is a pretty meme-worthy thing, but like, this one's just, I don't know, it's such a good idea. I don't know what else to say about it than that it's such a good idea. And I'm probably gonna put it right under Dan Flash's. He can hit. I like this one a whole lot, and I haven't really seen a lot of people mention this one yet. This is the one where that guy hires like Johnny Carson impersonator at a low price point, and at that price point they can hit. So like the guy goes around and just hits people, and they're allowed to do it technically because the guy paid so little for it. But Tim's character just keeps defending the policy and like insulting the person's house. This one's just got a lot of good Tim mannerisms in it. The lines themselves aren't necessarily quotable, but yeah, this one's one where Tim's performance is what's funny in it to me. And I'd probably put it, I think I'm gonna put it at the bottom of A tier. And I might be ranking this one a little too high. Especially since I can't really remember any good quotables from it, but I just remember laughing at this really hard both times. Or like I probably watched it 3 times now, but like every time I watched it I could remember myself laughing at it pretty hard. Tables is amazing. It's the one where they're watching the PSA video, whatever you want to call it, of driving while distracted, and the whole time you're trying to figure out what this woman's job is because she keeps getting upset that her tables are dirty. And this is another one where Patty's performance is just perfect. The way she delivers the lines, like my favorite line she delivers is like, and it looks like, and I know it's probably not this, it looks like you put them in a mud puddle. Talking about the tables, that's great. And then Tim's like, I don't want to hear any questions about the tables. And they keep asking like, but what was her job? Tables. And then the part at the end, he's like, why were they allowed to swear? He's like, they didn't, they only said shoot. This one is fantastic. It's another one of my favorites from season 2. And I'll probably put it, I might put it right under Sloppy Steaks. It's really good. Tammy Craps, I think I can say, is the strangest one of the entire show. Because it just keeps getting crazier and crazier. So it's a commercial about a Tammy Craps doll that craps her pants and lies about it. But and this girl here that's doing the performance is perfect. They could not have gotten a better like little girl to play that person. But like she talks about like you have to be 60 lbs to have a Tammy Craps doll. And like, what the heck does that even mean? And the commercial's like, start packing on those pounds because Tammy Craps doll is back. And like, she doesn't have farts in her head anymore. And you're like, what the heck does that mean? And then they start explaining it like a disgruntled employee started farting in all the heads, but in order to get the smell away, they had to spray it with a low-grade poison, which you have to be 60 pounds or above to have the body density to not be affected by it. Because if you're under 60 pounds, it's like smoking 5 Macanudo cigars a day. Just the layers of absurdity that they like pile on, and then they like tell you why they're there. I don't know. It's a fantastic sketch. My favorite line from it, I think, though, is like that one girl's like, 5 Macanudos, that's a lot. And then the main girl's like, no. She's just like, no. And then the one girl fills her pockets full of rocks just so she'll be over 60 lbs. This one's fantastic and so weird. This one doesn't necessarily feel like a Tim Robinson sketch to me, though. This one I think is the most out there of all the sketches. But man, it's really, really good. I'm trying to think of if I like it more than Dan Flash's and Sloppy Steaks. And I think I do. I think I might put this at the top of A tier. Okay, Courtroom is is the one where the guy with it's like the fedora hat with like the safari flap, the safari flap on the back of the hat, is sitting in the courtroom at this insider trading trial, and they're reading off texts that are making fun of his hat the whole time. This one is so funny. Like the way that so the whole funniness of this is around, there's a fedora hat with a safari flap and the guy thinks it's great. Like that's the core funniness of the sketch. But the way that they've like gotten that across by putting him in a courtroom and having him react to people make fun of it is just, I don't know, it's so funny. And he has the dice in his pocket and he like slowly puts them on the ground, and there's a ton of great stuff about this. And when he tries to do the Fred Astaire thing and let it roll down his hand, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in this one. I'm trying to think if there's any good like quotable moments. There probably is, and I just can't think of them right now. Well, I like it when he's like, "Don't do the voice." That's really good. But yeah, this one's like a really solid idea. That's very funny. And I'd probably put it at the bottom of A tier, I think. Yeah. Okay, motorcycles. This one is good, but this one has more diminishing returns on it, I think, than some of the other ones. It's like motorcycles, or like a motorcycle with a little house in the middle. Okay, like that's a really good line. And yeah, guys, there's motorcycles. But like the whole point of this is like there's an alien race of people that look like humans that love motorcycles, and they're spying on Earth to see if they have motorcycles. And yeah, guys, there's motorcycles. But yeah, this one's funny the first couple times, and then like after that, I don't know. It's not as it doesn't pack the zing that a lot of these other ones have, I think. But this one is funny in that it just turns any motorcycle into a meme. You know, if you like the show. So like you could look at like anything with wheels and be like, motorcycle with whatever. Okay, like that's a funny quotable from it. But I'm probably gonna put this one maybe right under Babysitter, I think. Okay, so Hot Dog Car, the concept of it is hilarious in that there is a car shaped like a hot dog that crashes through a building, and they're trying to find out who did it, and a guy in a hot dog costume is like, yeah, wait till we find out the guy who did this. You could end the sketch right there at the hot dog suit reveal. You could end it right there and it'd be hilarious. But the fact that he just kind of piles on to it and keeps trying to prove his innocence, and then he starts stealing stuff while he's going on this long speech about not trusting people or not like communicating with people, and then the cops chase him. Yeah, this one's just great. And I like the random. That's a really good quotable from it. But I'd say we put this one in A tier. Maybe below Tables, I think. Okay, Chunky's a personal favorite of mine. One of my personal favorites. This one has a lot of Tim yelling and reacting in a funny way. I think when Tim yells, it's like the most hilarious thing. I don't usually think like yelling is just inherently funny, but for some reason when Tim does it, it just is. He could yell about anything, and I think it's hilarious. I love it when he's like, "Don't talk. The mouth on the thing doesn't move. It looks fake." And he's like, "Don't swear. You can't. What game show you ever seen had swearing in it?" Like, there's so many quotables from this, and like, uh-oh, it's a Chunky, and figure out what it is that you do. You had all summer to think about it. Like, there's a ton of stuff from this that I love to quote. and just the concept of Chunky and the way Chunky looks. Like, he's the mascot for the show now, in my opinion. But yeah, this one's great. This one is probably an S+ tier for me, I think. And I know a lot of people don't love it as much as I do, but man, there's just so much of it that I really like. And I like when he's like, how do you know it's a Chunky? You didn't even like flip the thing. He's like, I made the game. I know where all the little things are. And like, that isn't necessarily that funny of a line, but like Tim delivers it in a way that's hilarious to me. Okay, Garfield House. This one. So this one goes along too with that little section at the beginning where the guy's like, where's my treasure, or whatever. This one is one of the weakest ones on the show, I think. Because the whole joke is that they're trying to set up this very serious intervention for their alcoholic friend. And this one woman insists to do it at her house, and when you get there, it's a Garfield house that was fully furnished with Garfield stuff. And like that, yeah, that's funny the first time you see the visual, and then after that, it just, I haven't found this funny at all anymore. I don't really think there's like any quotables from it. All this has really done is turn Garfield into a meme for me, kind of, even more so than Garfield already was. I see a lot of people like associate anything Garfield with this show now. But honestly, I just don't think it's funny at all. Like, even Scrooge has like the redeeming, you know, it'll give you the bony sense of humor part, but like this one just doesn't. I don't really think it has anything redeeming about it, and I think it's probably the worst sketch that Tim Robinson has so far. But I mean, even then, it's still funnier than a lot of other stuff, just by the nature of it, the nature of the dialogue and the delivery. But yeah, this one also guest stars another person that was in the characters, and unfortunately, she just did. Well, I don't think she was given that much to work with here. But yeah, this is probably my least favorite of the whole show, unfortunately. King of the Slams is amazing. It's the one where they have that boss that pokes fun at him all the time and jokes at him, and Tim's character always takes everything like literally. So he's like, 1982 called, they want their mustache back. He's like, what? This is me from 1982? And then later he's like, hey Rod, you think I could fit this whole thing in my mouth? And he's like, that's what your mother said last night. He's like, hold on a minute, you talked to my mother last night? And he's like, yeah. And then he calls his dad and he's like, Dad, I got good news and bad news. Good news is Mom's alive. Bad news is she's sleeping with my boss, King of the Slams. Like, and then he goes, yes sir, I love you. And he's like, say it, say it, say it. This one's just, it's so well paced. The dialogue's great, the performance is great. And this is probably my favorite sketch from his episode on the characters, I think. But this one, golly, this one's really up there for me. I think I'm gonna put it a little bit above Tables, maybe. Honestly, A tier is getting kind of stacked. I'm thinking like honestly, these I might put up to S, because in looking at them all together, I think that these are just a cut above some of these down here. So I'm gonna move them up to S. Okay, what do we got next? Alright, Moon River Rock, or the Laser Spine Specialist one. So this one starts out as a commercial for laser spine surgery, and then it devolves into something totally different. Which, oh man, this one's so good. So like the beginning part where he's like, they're like, I can walk again, I can pick up my grandson again. And he's like, I can go fight my wife's new husband, Danny Grouse. It's like the whole gist is like this laser spine surgery is giving these people a new confidence and they're like able to do things they couldn't do before. And then this one guy's just like a total square, Tim's character. So he's like, yeah, I can fight my wife's new husband, Danny Grouse. I can finally pick up my son again. And his son's like 30 years old. He's like, he's been rude to me his whole life. He's like, I can finally get my money back from Robbie Stars at Superstars Track Records, or whatever it's called. And then Connor O'Malley, who's in several of these other sketches, who is absolutely hilarious. He plays the producer in here, and he's cracking it. You can tell he's cracking up the whole time he's delivering all of his lines, which is something you can see in Detroiters too. That whole scene with the Slipknot mask in Detroiters, you can see both Tim and him crack up, and it's great. But yeah, they make a great pair. But he's like, yeah, we need to fly Jeff Chris down from Indiana to mix this professionally. And he's like, don't leave me, you know, I've got another song here that's right in your Q zone. And Tim's like, it's not exactly in my Q zone, is it? And he's like, I mean, we could give it to Tommy here. And he's like, no, don't give it to Tommy, just let me think about it for a second. So like, just the idea that he went down there to get his revenge on the guy that scammed him into thinking he was a singer, and then just falling back into the trap again. Oh man, there's a ton good about this sketch. And I think it's probably, golly, I want to put this one in S tier too. And I don't think I don't think I can put it down in A. It's just so good. Dang, this is another one. The Receipt. I probably quote this one more than, in my head at least, I quote this one more than like any of the other ones. This one's so good. So like, the gist is that this guy buys a gift for his friend for his birthday party, and he wants to make so sure that his friend likes the gift that he says, would you mind if I ate the receipt then? So he eats the receipt and then gets sick from it because, what's his name? Jason Yoon? Is that his name? Plays Glenn, and the guy from Invincible. His character didn't wipe properly when they went to the bathroom and got mud pie, which is a theme throughout the whole first season, mud pie. Got it on the receipt, and Tim's character ate it and made him mighty sick. This one's another one where the specific words in the dialogue, the delivery of Tim's lines, and the fact that the weird guy is able to turn the tables on the normal guy and make him the weird guy, just like the focus group sketch was. That is like the perfect recipe of what makes a sketch good, I think, in this show. So this one, I'm gonna have a hard time putting in anything but S+. But yeah, there's so many good quotables from it. I'm afraid our gracious host didn't wipe properly. Jacob, don't you go anywhere near that. Which I say that to myself a lot because that's my name. But that one's great. He's like, then let my wife eat the receipt. That's a good one. And then that guy gets so mad that he punches the pillow and it adds in that punch sound effect. There's a ton of good stuff in here. I eat paper all the time. What I don't like to make a habit of doing is eating mud pie. And, you know, your wife kissed me on the cheek when I got here. And now look at you. This one's just like wall-to-wall quotable moments. And yeah, I can't put in anything but S+. And now that I don't know if I can put it above the Skeletons or not. Probably right there, I think. But man, that's such a good one. The Pointer Brothers, this is another good one from the characters. It's got Tim, Connor O'Malley, and Zach Kanan, I think is his name, who's a co-writer for the show. You think because they're called the Pointer Brothers, they're going to be a Pointer Sisters cover band, but they're just guys that go up and point to everybody in the audience, which is just a hilarious concept in itself. And then you bring out the guy in the suit that was like an ex-felon or something, and then the Pointer Brothers all fight on stage. there's a lot good about this one. I don't find myself thinking about this one a lot or quoting a lot from it, so I think it's a pretty average one. But it's a very successful sketch, I think, and it was a very good idea. But I'm probably gonna put it right below Both Ways. Lady Luck's a good one in that there's a lot of build up. So Tim's character builds up in that, like, he's got all this charisma, everything's going right. He's like your typical cool guy, you know, rat pecker, cool guy. And then makes like one bad roll on a dice or whatever, and he's like, I'm ruined. So that and that whole spiral that he has afterward, and him trying to get the stake back from the person, and like, yeah, this one's great because the tonal shift is just like so immediate and abrupt. But yeah, this one doesn't have a ton of like good quotables from it, I think, except for I'm ruined. That one's the one I like to say a lot. But I'll probably put this up in B tier, probably right below Capitol Room. Okay, and then we have Magician. So this is the one where Tim gets disrespected by a magician on stage in front of his wife, who's played by Cecily Strong, and he like develops this vendetta against the guy. And a lot of the quotables in this aren't exactly stuff I'll repeat on the video, but there's a lot of good moments in this one. And then the way it ends with just the magician suck and the like flashing letters on the screen is really good. But yeah, most of the, like I was saying, most of the quotables from this, there's some good quotables in it, but most of them I'm not going to repeat. But this is definitely an A tier one. I'll probably put it above Courtroom, I think. So The Crier is one that I wish was funnier because Will Forte is probably like my second favorite funny person after Tim Robinson. I love Last Man on Earth. I love everything he's done in SNL. He's one of those guys that's just funny by being himself. The idea for this sketch where, you know, somebody's waited his whole life to get revenge on this baby that ruined his trip to England is funny. And then the grown man crying and like them like presenting it as like this weird horror movie kind of thing is pretty funny. There's not a ton of quotables from it. It's mostly just funny from Will Forte's performance. But this one is one that, you know, if you don't like Will Forte, I think you're not gonna necessarily like this one that much. So I think it's a pretty average one, unfortunately, because, like I was saying, because I love Will Forte so much. But we're gonna put it right above Pointer Brothers, I think. Okay, Jeff. Jeff's the one where the guy is singing to his baby daughter about her life, and then makes up this whole like boyfriend for her and about how cool he is, and like he's like so enamored by this boyfriend that he's making up. And then it just becomes like, rather than it being about him and his daughter and wanting his daughter to have a good life, it's about him and her boyfriend. It's about Tim and her boyfriend Jeff like having this cool time. And then Jeff like risks his life for Tim, and then he like gets really sad about it. But yeah, this whole one's a song. It's pretty good. Just the concept of it's good. But I think overall it's probably another average one. And when I say average, I mean like average within the show. That's why B tier is so big. It's like the average tier, you know. But like still, if I would have put these on sketches with like Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, whatever, name any sketch show, these would all be like S tier stuff compared to that, to me at least. But yeah, Jeff, I'll probably put him above Haunted House, I think. Baby of the Year is one that I didn't care for at first, but has grown on me more. especially with watching Detroiters and getting more of an appreciation for Sam, the host on here. This one is interesting in that, so like each of these sketches usually have one weird guy, right? The one person who is the subject of people saying, I think you should leave. Like, that's the theme of the show, kind of, you know? This is one of the few that everybody in it is weird, because they're all getting so mad at this baby, and then the host is weird, the doctor's weird, the judges are weird. So, like, this one's just, there's a ton of great jokes in here. I like saying Little Tuna Can a lot. That one's fun. Bart Harley Jarvis is one of the most aggressive babies I've ever met. That's great. Yeah, this thing's trash. Dump it. That's a good quotable. The fact that the doctor's name is Dr. Skull is great, and the people on the Fenton's Ranch, their name was Skull too. I don't know if anybody's caught that, but yeah, there's a ton of great stuff going on in here in this sketch. And I know this is a lot of people, it's it's one of their favorite sketches. But I'd probably put this in A tier. Trying to think of if I like it better than Tables, and I don't think I do. So I'm gonna put it right below Tables. Turbo Team is one that I've seen so many times I can about recite it. This one is another one that kind of made me like fall in love with the show. That along with Focus Group, and it's all about Tim's delivery and the absurdity of it. Cause like, you know how like you'll listen to stuff, and I feel like this happened with Vine a lot. If you were a fan of Vine, you would listen to stuff and it wouldn't necessarily be super funny, but it's just like an earworm in your brain. Like, look at all those chickens on Vine or something like that. That was funny the first time, you know? And then after that, it's just become like a part of, I don't know, it's just become like a part of my identity. That is something that I say, look at all those chickens. And it's like an earworm because it's, I don't know how else to describe that. And I don't know if you all can relate to this or not. But Turbo Team is like that for me, where there's a lot of lines that Tim says that isn't necessarily funny, but they're like just earwormed into my head. Like, and then they go in there together. Like, the way that he says that is just ingrained in my head. But yeah, his whole performance, this whole entire thing is so quotable. Like, it's a joke hole just for farts. You're not part of the Turbo Team. Until you're part of this Turbo Team, walk slowly. But yeah, there's a ton of great stuff in this one. And I'm probably going to put it right below Focus Group. And how funny it is. TC Tuggers. This is part 1 and 2 of it in this one entry. This one's pretty good. Just again, it's Tim's performance that makes it funny for me, and that he, the rest of it is like this, you know, teen drama. It's got like that tone of a teen drama. And then Tim just comes in and he's just completely out of water. You know, he's like, it's a TC top from TC Tuggers. You know, your shirt gets kind of bunched up and you gotta pull on it, and it hurts your hand from pulling on it all day. Like, it's just so out there. And it's another one where this could have been a commercial. Like, the obvious way to present this as an idea isn't the way that they did it. They like made it as like an in-show product placement, and then the second part was the actual commercial. So like, I think this one was a smart way to present this idea as a sketch. But yeah, this one's pretty solid. I think I'm gonna put it right below Bumper Sticker, I believe. Wrestler, this one's a personal favorite of mine too, because I'm a fan of wrestling and wrestling promos and stuff. And I love how I've been to like local, you know, I live in the South, so like I've been to like these local Southern wrestling shows that this is making fun of. And like the way that he has this confidence He's like, I'm gonna tell you one thing, Iron Sheik, or whatever the guy's name was, I can't remember. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Stop spitting on me. Like the fact that the wrestlers burn the American flag, and he's like, later on the interviewer's like, did they burn the flag? He's like, goes without saying, Rusty. And the fact that they make him pee his pants or crap his pants, whatever it was, I can't remember. But yeah, this one's great. This one doesn't quite make it into S tier. I guess I'd put it about here. Well, no. Actually, I'll put it here. But yeah, that one's got a lot of good moments about it. But I just like the whole him having confidence, like, let me tell you one thing. Stop spitting on me. Like the shift in tone there is great. Herbie Hancock is the one where the guy falls off the stage and they get video of the woman's dog trying to do things to his head. It's a funny concept. I don't think there's again, it's kind of crude, you know? There's like some gross stuff in here. And every now and then I think gross stuff is funny, but most of the time I don't think gross stuff is funny just for the sake of what it is. So there wasn't a ton else in here besides the concept of the dog, you know, doing that to his head. So this one's not one of my favorites. I'm trying to think if there's any good quotables from it, but I really can't think of any. So we're gonna toss this one below Gazpacho Soup, I think. The choking one. Okay, yeah, this one. I love this one too. This guy, he's at a dinner with somebody that he really, he ends up finding out that there's like a small celebrity at the dinner, and he kind of freaks out about it. He gets choked on something and doesn't want to admit that he's choking, which is a hilarious concept for a sketch. But of course it's Tim's performance again that makes it great, and the fact that like the way he's talking, and like he keeps picking up food and like saying that it stinks just because he doesn't want to try to eat it because he physically can't. But yeah, it's that whole part is great. There's not a ton of quotables from it, I don't think. But yeah, this one's just like a performance. The performance is funny kind of deal. But yeah, it's great, and I'll probably put it up here in A tier, I think. I think I like it a little more than Magician. Okay, an organist. This one's got Fred Willard in it, who plays a replacement organist that like used to work at the circus, but he's at a funeral. So like he's playing, the circus music to the funeral, and that, that's just a funny idea in itself. But like, once that joke is landed, that hey, it's not a normal organist, it's a circus organist, it kind of has diminishing returns on it. One thing that does redeem this a little bit though is where he says this one's called He Layeth on High, and it's about a big baby duck that gets his head caught in a stewed tomato. Which is one of the best like collections of words I've ever heard. So that alone would bump it up like a tier or two from that one phrase. So I think I'm gonna put it maybe above TC Tuggers, because that line alone is really, I think is really funny. Okay, so here's what we got. Thanks for sticking with me. We're gonna take, let's see, I'm gonna take a look at this and see if there's anything I would change. But I mean, it looks like a fairly evened out tier list. B is the biggest tier. D and S plus are the smallest, which is, it's usually what you want. But yeah, I mean, it's so much about this show is good. And like, honestly, maybe only these last four here. I don't know if I want to put that one down in D or not. I don't think it's as, like, honestly, only these I think are just, I would say they're not good. The rest of them up are still good sketches. But man, yeah, some of this stuff appears literally the funniest stuff I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, and thing about this show is like you can watch it 4, 5, 6 times, and the way that they say stuff and the dialogue and stuff is just so, it still hits just as hard as that first watch or two. So I think that's why the show has gotten so much of like a cult following, and why the fans are like so passionate about it is just because like it's literally like a level of comedy that I've never seen personally in my life. And yeah, so I can't believe, if you're still sticking around and you haven't watched this, I have no idea how you've sat through all this and not watched it, not watched this show. But yeah, here's my tier list. Feel free to tell me in the comments why you think I'm wrong. You know, all this is subjective anyway, because I know at least these two people are gonna have up in their like A and B tiers, maybe even their S tiers. But yeah, I'll put the link to this tier list down in the description. But yeah, definitely go watch. I think you should go watch the characters, and hopefully you'll appreciate the show for the genius that I think it is, personally. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.